it's caused the delay?
Yeah, I mean, I filed many lawsuits for Iranian men. I think that that's definitely one of the reasons why they're sitting on the case, for sure.
If they have anything, they should, because if there is any problem, why they didn't send me RFE or something?
They just sit on cases when they pick and choose the cases that they sit on, so it's hard to say, my friend.
Okay, so I have to contact who?
You have to contact this fellow right here. His name's Daniel.
Hello,
hey, Daniel,
hello.
welcome to the show.
Thank you. Sorry for the late appearance.
It's my. I forgot to start the broadcast, so I was all kinds of screwed up. Mohammed, this is who you need to talk to. Daniel, he's our intake guy. But give it a few more weeks. Hopefully, you won't need us. But it sounds like they're almost at their 120 days, so you're getting pretty close to having to sue them.
Okay, thank you.
All right, friend.
Thanks for all your support. It's really appreciated.
Sure thing.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Bye.
All right.
Hi, Jim. Can you hear me? Awesome. Can you hear me?
How are you? Yep. How you doing?
Good. Thanks. How are you guys doing?
Doing great. How
Thanks
can we
for
help
having
you?
me. Awesome. So I actually have a few questions. I moved to the US in 2017 through the diversity visa program. I've been living here since, and I'm coming close to my 5th year to be eligible to apply for citizenship. And I've been asking a few questions, doing some research to be prepared. And lately I've been talking with the friends, and he actually asked me about selective services. So my first response was I'm all set. I did register back home, and I should be all set. So he insisted that I should check online because it's a part of the form N400. So I went online, I checked, I find out that I'm not registered. I did call them, and they confirmed that I was indeed not registered. I've been concerned since, because I did some research, and first it's a felony. If prosecuted, it can consequence to up to 5 years in prison and $250,000 as a fine. Well, my first question, should I be concerned first of this? Because back home, during my interview day, I signed a document, and when I asked about it, they explained that this is for selective service. So my assumption since and during that moment was by signing that document, I'm going to be auto-registered for a selective service, and it's going to be processed with my other immigration document. By the way, I did nothing. I just paid the fees for the green card. So back to my question, should I be concerned first for not registering?
Well, I don't think you need to worry about it being a felony or anything. There's all kinds of people walking around who didn't register for selective service. How old are you right now?
I'm 26 years old and 8 months, so that makes me not eligible to apply anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel bad about it, honestly, because it's so easy to register. It's actually checkout on certain website is more complex and takes longer time. They just ask for first name, last name, date of birth, SSN, and address. It's so easy. I mean,
so here's what I would say. Number one, don't worry about it. Number two, when the time comes to apply for citizenship, you're going to include an affidavit, and you're going to get it notarized. And the affidavit's going to say, my name is Mohammed. I got my green card through the diversity visa. When I went to the embassy, I paid all my fees and I filled out all the forms. And I thought that one of the forms that I was signing was to register me for selective service. I didn't know that I had to register on my own when I got to America. And I didn't figure it out until I was 26 years and 8 months old. So then it was too late for me to do it. I love America. I love living here. If I'd known about it, I would have registered on time. I'm sorry that I didn't do it. Please forgive me and allow me to become a citizen. And they'll say, okay.
I see. So basically, failing to register does not translate automatically to denying the N400 form.
No. You just have to ask for forgiveness.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, you gave me hope. So another follow-up question quickly. Sorry, I know probably there is a lot of people waiting.
Fine. You're fine.
Thank you. So I did some research online too. So selective service, they do provide a form called I think SIL, status information letter. So do you think it's something I should take action on it like right now, or just like wait until like I start like my application for citizenship?
I think you just wait until you become a citizen, and then you do what I said. You just send in that affidavit with your application. They'll probably ask, and obviously you have to mark the question no on your N400,
Yes.
and then say, please see the affidavit. It'll be fine.
Oh, okay, but actually they do. If the answer is no, they do ask you to provide that document SIL, and so do you think I should wait until that moment to do it, or I can do it like now?
Yeah, you can do it now. It's fine.
Got it. And one more question, sorry. The affidavit, is it like a form that I can find online, or
No, it's just a sworn statement that says an affidavit on top, and if you write down all the paragraphs I just said, you'll be fine.
Awesome. Well, thank you a lot, Jim. I do appreciate your time. Thank you also,
You're welcome,
Dino.
Mohammed. Thanks, buddy. Take care.
Thanks for your help. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. That's nice. He thanked me. I didn't provide much, but you know, I'm here.
He's glad you're here for moral support.
Hello.
Hello,
Thank you
God.
for your service, and I will be very quick. So I am going through an AOS process through marriage. I'm working remotely for a company in my home country, Romania. And concerning taxes, I went to 2 CPAs, and they said that I'm not required to file taxes for now because I don't have a social nor an identification number for tax purposes. So they said that I should come back to them when I will have those numbers. But I'm not sure that it will be enough as an explanation for immigration.
So when did you file the I-130 and the 485?
In September last year.
And have you been fingerprinted?
Yes, I have already scheduled the interview. It was scheduled on 25th of May. I don't have the letter yet because it's in the mail, and we are in a moving process right now. And that was my next question. What will happen if the letter won't come in time?
Have you been fingerprinted?
Yes.
When did you get fingerprinted?
March 15th.
So you just haven't gotten your work card?
No, but it's in the mail also. They send them all 3 letters at the same time. So the travel document, the employment authorization, and the letter for the interview.
Okay. What field office is this? This is a very efficient field office.
Providence in Rhode Island.
Mm-hmm. I think that your explanation is, look, I don't have a social security number. I'm waiting for my social security number. Once I have my social security number, I'll go back to my CPA and file all my taxes. But for now, they usually don't ask at the adjustment of status interview based on marriage. Unless the couple has been married for a really long time, they usually don't ask so much about the tax returns of the beneficiary, that's you. Because especially, you'll probably get your work card a week before your interview.
True.
Or 2 weeks before your interview, and then you'll probably get your social security card like the day of your interview. So I just think if you explain to them everything that happened and what your intention is, the worst case scenario is you get a request for evidence dated 90 days out for you to provide that evidence, but I don't even think they'll mess with it.
Okay, so after I get the letter for the employment authorization, I have to file for social at another office.
Well, hopefully, when you filled out your form, you ask them to send you a social. Yeah, so you don't have to do it. You don't have to do anything else. That should come in the mail.
Okay, perfect. So if the letters won't come very fast, like 1 week or 2. And I don't have everything that they request in the letter for me to bring to the interview, should I reschedule it? No. So I should go later.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We didn't buy the wedding bands, and we don't have a joint account because I don't have a social, and it wasn't a possibility for us to make a joint account. Is that a problem? Should we buy the wedding bands just to have them at the
I
interview?
I wouldn't buy wedding bands just to bring to the interview. I'd bring them because I wanted to have them.
That's why I waited, because we are planning to do our big party for the wedding at the beginning of the next year, and I wanted to research the market and
Yeah,
buy
I would
the.
say as long as you have other marital evidence, you should be okay. But
Okay.
if you don't have all these things and you don't have a lot of other evidence, that could be a problem.
Okay, perfect. And last question. I already talked to Ellen from your office, and I have a question about the preparation for the interview. She said that the fee is $2,000, but I'm wondering how many hours will the preparer spend with us, me and my husband, for the interview? Is that something?
Hour or two.
Okay, so.
I mean, it doesn't usually take that long. It's just going over the application, preparing you for the interview, doing a fake interview, like pretending they're the officer, and then looking over the evidence that you've gathered and helping you gather more evidence.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you for everything. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
She seemed nice.
Yes. I got a quick question for you, Jim.
Yeah,
Because
buddy.
I always ask, well, my boss, you're my boss too, my other boss, Laura Clark, what the vibe is in the office. I think people want to know. Tell people what the vibe is in the office today.
Well, that's a good question. Let's see. Well, Haley came back from vacation, so she's sort of bummed to be back, not because of work, but because her friend is gone. So her friend went back home. So she's good. She's such a gunner. Like, I always know when Haley's on the case because, we use FileVine and I get all these alerts that things are happening. So, like, I cleared out all my alerts last night while I was barbecuing, and then right before I went to bed, I saw that I had a bunch of more alerts. So I knew that she started working early. She doesn't like to come in with a bunch of stuff. She'd rather, push it out before.
Yeah.
So she's good. Over on the other side, we were talking to one of our team members in DC, Fatima. She's studying for the bar, so we talked about that. Everybody else is good. Laura's running around like she always does. And I don't know, we signed up a lot of cases yesterday, didn't we?
Yep.
I think like 8.
Yep. All right.
Yeah,
well, that's a good lowdown.
We miss having you guys in the office, but I think you guys all like working from home too.
Yeah, it works out.
I had to step up my game today. You were making me look bad, so I had to put on my tie.
Sorry, Jim. I was just trying to balance out the sweatshirts,
That's okay.
middle ground.
That brings up another interesting point, Daniel. I don't know that I've really talked to you about this, but I've been talking to a YouTube friend of mine. His name's Patrick, and we're not going to do a daily video anymore. We're going to cut it back, and we're going to produce them a little bit more. We're going to have sort of like 15, 20-minute videos that are a little bit more highly edited and a little bit more polished. And one of the things that he pointed out to me is, he said, Jim, so much of your content is for people that already know you. You need to create more content for people who've never heard of you. So I think that's, I think it goes both ways. I think we have a really loyal fan base. We have like 33,000 subscribers now on the YouTube channel, but we're going to try to make a push to create content that helps people a little bit faster and doesn't assume that they really know anything. So I just shot yesterday. I did a 45-minute video, Daniel, and it's me asking and answering each of the 100 naturalization questions. So we have the audio and the video so people can practice for the test. I randomized all the questions, and then I gave sort of what I think are the easier answers. So I think people are going to like that.
That's cool. That'll be great to share with people.
Yeah, and one of the interns helped me edit it all, so it looks pretty good. All right, we better get back to the calls.
Trudy's been sleeping. Wake up, Trudy.
Hi, how are you?
You work the night shift, huh? You work the night shift?
I'm home right now.
How can we help
Hi,
you?
Jim. Hi, Daniel. Yes, please. I wanted to find out about how long it might take for the embassies to reopen, and also I've been trying to schedule for an interview. Every time I'm almost about to go for an interview, they always reschedule. So
Which
I've been
embassy?
wondering why. This is in Zambia.
Zambia. And is
Since
COVID bad in
April,
Zambia right now?
No. The cases have reduced. We've got less cases and not deaths of yet. Things are quite okay for now. It's not like a few months ago. This year has been pretty good.
Well, then hopefully.
So you find that
Hopefully
since November until today, every month I reschedule for an appointment. They cancel and then I have to reschedule. So I've been wondering what's happening.
Well,
Yeah.
we've been hearing different things from different embassies. The head of consular officials gave a nice talk about a week ago, and he said that they're really trying to push these places to get open more. And I think that, with Trump, it was always hard to tell, is this embassy closed because of COVID, or is it because Trump doesn't want to let people come to the United States? So now I feel like they're getting into the phase where they're being a little bit fair and trying to play it straight. So I think hopefully your embassy in Zambia will be opening pretty soon.
Okay. I scheduled for an interview, which is next month, July.
So that's good.
So hopefully I get it before something crazy comes up, because the other time I rescheduled to almost like a week before an interview, like 3 days to my interview, they canceled and they had to reschedule again. Yeah. And then also
All right, buddy, we'll keep us
expedite
posted.
case.
No, not expedite. We're not expediting. That's a waste of time. I think if you already have an interview notice, you're better off than a lot of people.
Okay.
All right, buddy. All right, that was Trudy. He's a pretty chill fellow, I must admit.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what Jordan has to say.
Hello, Jordan. You're muted. Muted, Jordan.
Uh-oh.
You hear me now?
We got you. Yeah. How can we help you?
Okay, so I was wondering if USCIS considers that as a red flag if married to a US citizen within weeks of meeting her.
What do you think, Jordan?
Well, I think that if I have all the documents or evidence that the marriage is bona fide, then there shouldn't be a problem.
I think you have to ask some other questions that go along with this, and you can answer these or not answer these. But the questions that I would ask that sort of lead us to the red flag, besides, hey, this couple got married 4 weeks after meeting each other. I think the biggest question then is, what was the immigration status of the foreign national? If they were, let's say, on a visit visa and they had just entered and got married 3 weeks after they arrived, that would be problematic. Or if someone was on an F1 and they were about to graduate and their visa was going to end, or their OPT was going to end, that too. So I think it has to be taken into account with like a 360-degree view, like a full circle view. So I do think that getting married 3 or 4 weeks after you meet someone is a problem for immigration purposes. But of course, people do that for non-immigration related reasons. So I think it's okay. But, one of the things that I always say is, let's take away reasons for them to say no, or let's take away reasons for them to slow down our case. And so I just would never give them that kind of a problem right out of the box.
Okay, so how long is better for me to wait?
Say that again, my friend.
How long will be better for me to wait until?
Always better to wait. Yep.
But how many days, Jim?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it depends on the immigration status. Like if your visa's about to end, then maybe you might be a little bit more, but I would say at least 90 days. I think Jordan locked up.
Jim, somehow I hear you say 60 and sometimes 90.
Well, 60 is a real rule. If you enter the United States, and get married within 60 days, that's a real problem. That's presumed to have fraudulent or immigrant intent. So when you enter on a non-immigrant visa, you're not supposed to be coming to get married. So if you get married in those first 60 days, that can be a real problem. Jordan's question was more, what's the fine line? And it's hard to say what a fine line it is as far as when it's okay to get married. But I would say 90 days is the very least. I would at least wait 90 days.
Okay. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jordan.
Bye, Jordan. Bye. See you, man. All right. I like all of our happy people. I like when people are happy.
Hi, Agnes.
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
God, yeah. I'm gonna be different. Good morning. I came to United States in 1999 as a tourist visa. My visa expired, and 2010 I married my husband. He's from Czech Republic. After 3 years later, we went to the lawyer and applied for the paperwork of asylum, but the lawyer doesn't want to take our case because our country, they're pretty good. We cannot say we're afraid to our country and we cannot go back because it's no war, they're not poor. So my lawyer said he doesn't want to do it. He refused us. He doesn't want to take our money, which was we was glad. And he said he have another case with Czech Republic, and the case was denied. That's why he doesn't want to take our case. So as of right now, I don't have a lawyer, and I don't know what to do because I'm living here like 21 years already, and paying taxes, keeping my head down, and I don't know what to do.
Do you have any children here?
Yes, I have a 7-year-old daughter.
How old? 7?
7.
Mm.
And then when she was 4, she have a speech therapy, occupation therapy. So I was thinking I can use this to apply, she have a services here, so she have to stay. But now she lost the services, so I cannot do that.
So, I think the lawyer was right not to file an asylum case. That was never going to work. So that's good. I don't think that there's anything that we want to raise our hand and say, hey, don't forget about old Agnes. She's been hanging out here since 1999. But I will tell you this, that as long as you never got in any kind of legal trouble, let's say that immigration came and found you tomorrow and put you in removal.
Okay.
There's an avenue for you to stay. It's called cancellation of removal. So if you keep documenting your daughter's health and speech issues, you should be able to stay in the United States if they put you in deportation proceedings. Now, there are some lawyers who would say, hey, Agnes, let's raise our hand and go to immigration court and let them know that you're here in the hopes that you get cancellation and a green card. I would never do that because it's too risky. There's no guarantee you're going to get cancellation. So if you can wait 14 more years, your daughter can sponsor you for a green card.
What? That's too long.
Well, that's why I was hoping you had a kid right after you landed, because if you had a kid right after you landed, we'd be golden right now. We'd be filing.
Yeah, I know. And then another question. I have a rare disease. It's called Sjogren disorder, and I have a treatment here, so I have to go to my doctor every 6 months. And I find out that the pills they don't have it in Poland, so they have to import them. So can we do that? Something about that will help my case?
No, they don't care about you. No. They just care about your daughter.
Don't care about me. I have my aunt. She's a citizen, but this is gonna take a long time to sponsor my mom and then sponsor me. Yes. You see, I even think about the divorce.
You've been thinking about this for 20 years. Yeah, thinking about it for 20 years.
So it's no more. I have to wait for amnesty. Yes.
Or that, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So how are we gonna know it's Biden, now the president, already do something?
Yeah, nothing's happened yet, and I don't think anything's gonna happen anytime soon. So I think you're really just waiting for your daughter.
Oh, okay.
All right, good luck,
I thought you had
Agnes.
a better.
Thanks for coming on.
Bye, Agnes.
That was fun. Agnes has been chilling. Hey, everybody! I got a lot of people in the waiting room who don't have their cameras on. We don't call you up really if you're not on camera. So we always start with the people who are on camera, and that includes our friend Muna.
Hello, Muna. You're muted.
Let me
There you go.
Hi, Jim. Hi, Daniel.
Hello,
Hi,
welcome
Muna.
to the show.
Thank you. I know I get so excited to be on the show. First time.
How can we help you?
I've been watching your video all week, Jim. Thanks for the information.
Sure.
Thank you for your time. I have 2 to 3 questions. I've been married. I was married in 2009 and got divorced in 2014. Before we got divorced, we were separated, and I met another U.S. citizen, and we've been together since then, and we started having kids. So recently, I filed for my N-400, and my previous lawyer has mentioned something about adultery. So I was kind of worried about it. My divorce was finalized in September 2014. I had a child in December 2013 with my then separated husband. So since then, we had several kids, and we're still together. And I was asking if that would be a problem now that I filed my naturalization.
So, so let me get this straight. So, what country are you from?
Senegal.
And your divorce is from Senegal?
No, I was married here in the United States.
You got divorced in the United States. Okay.
I was married here and got divorced here. Yes.
How did you enter the United States? On a visit visa?
No, I was an F1. I went to school here, got my bachelor and everything. Finished school, then was married.
Okay, so the child that you mentioned, the first child that you mentioned, was that with your old husband or your new husband?
My new husband.
And that was why you were still married to Mr. Senegal?
No. I came here as an F1 student. I went to school straight. I graduated, started my master, and then I was married in 2009. And then we got separated in 2012, 13, something like that. And then the divorce got finalized in 2014. But while the divorce was pending, I met somebody else who's another U.S. citizen as well, but we're not married. And then we started having kids. And but they both U.S. citizens. But the thing is, the question is, now that I'm filing for my naturalization after 5 years, because the divorce has been since 2014, is the kid that I had throughout, in between the separation, is that going to be a issue for me?
Did you get your green card based on marriage to that first person or to the second person?
To the first. I'm not legally married to the second person.
Oh,
we've been together, but we never officially got married.
Got it. So the question is, do you lack good moral character because you had a child with
Yes.
the baby father while you were still legally married to?
Yes.
Now some states have legal separation. Were you legally separated or no?
I don't know. We were just separated. We were separated for about a year before the divorce was finalized. I don't know what.
Well, here's what I'll tell you. In 13 years of doing naturalization cases, I've never had them deny someone for good moral character for having a baby out of wedlock.
Okay.
I think the bigger question is, does the fact that you had a child with someone who wasn't your husband during your marriage, does that impact whether or not they think your old marriage was real or not?
Oh.
That's the bigger question. So I think you should be prepared to prove your first marriage all over again, especially if husband number one possibly wrote a letter to immigration saying that you only married him to get a green card.
Oh. So if that happens, what's going to happen if they write a letter? Because that was not the case.
That was the case or was not the case?
That was not the case. So if by any chance they get sour and they wrote the letter to immigration, then what's going to happen?
Well, they take those letters with a grain of salt. They know that there's bitterness when there's a divorce. But here's what I would say. Is your N400 already on file?
Say it again.
Is your N400 already on file?
Yes. It's yes, I have. I actually called your law firm the other day, and I talked to Ariella, but she said you guys couldn't represent me because it's like a short notice. Um, and yes, it's on file, and I have an upcoming interview in 2 weeks.
So that's the thing. So what I would want before your interview is I would want to get a copy of your immigration file.
Mm-hmm.
And that takes 2 or 3 months. So you're sort of going in blind on the N400. It might not even come up. And really, maybe it'll come up. Which field office are you going to?
Atlanta.
Oh yeah, I remember this one. Yeah, Daniel, we talked about that. Or no, I talked to Ariel about it. For Amani. Yeah, it's on the 18th, I think.
Yes.
The question is, do we go ahead with the interview on the 18th, or do we try to postpone it and get a copy of your file? Because the officer is going to be sitting there with your complete file, and you're not going to be sitting there with your complete file. And that's always a power disadvantage that helps USCIS and doesn't help us.
Okay.
So I would want to see, like, and Daniel can attest to this, we've been having clients send us denial notices a lot lately, where they say, hey, we believe this current marriage, but we don't believe the old marriage, or we just don't believe this old marriage, or we've got new evidence that shows that this wasn't real, namely that you had a child out of wedlock with the petitioner. I mean, when did you get your 2-year green card? 2010. And then you filed a 751 together and got the 10-year green card?
I don't remember going to an interview for the 10-year. The 10-year just came in the mail like that.
Yeah, back then you didn't. Back then you hardly ever had interviews on 751s.
Yes, I did.
But you and your ex-husband filed that together, right?
Yes, we filed together. We went to an interview, and then they gave me the 2-year temporarily, and that was about it. And then I lost my green card after that. Mm-hmm.
So, but that brings up the question. A timeline here is really important. Mm-hmm. When did we receive our 10-year green card? Like, did we receive our 10-year green card based on marriage to Mr. A? Mm-hmm. While we were having a baby with Mr. B? That's a problem. If that timeline overlaps, that's a problem. It's not so much the separation or divorce, it's the timeline of everything.
Okay. It was December 2013 when I had the baby. So, and then
that was after that.
Yes, I got the 10-year before. And we were still together then. It was a rocky thing.
All right. Well, I'm a little bit nervous for you, Mona. That's what I'm saying. I'm a little bit nervous.
Mm-hmm.
Not totally nervous, not freaked out, not saying you should withdraw the case, but I'm a little bit nervous.
So you think I should get my file first before going in?
I think if I were you, what I would do is, I would have Amani enter her appearance as your lawyer, ask that the interview be postponed to accommodate her schedule, and at the same time ask for your file. Those are two different things, but I would use the time to try to get your file so that you're not going in blind.
Okay. So even you have, what's that statutory 5 years mean?
Which one?
The 5 years statutory, what does it mean? Is it, I thought after the 5 years, you still have to prove the marriage?
Well, so the theory is, and this is an aggressive theory that we didn't used to see before, but now I see more often under Trump. The theory is that if you're right, they shouldn't go back more than 5 years. But if they can establish that the marriage wasn't valid, mm-hmm. that it was fake, then you never should have got your green card. And if you never should have got your green card, then you shouldn't get your citizenship. Mm-hmm. That's how it works.
Okay.
All right, so we'll check with Ariella, and I'll have Ariella reach out to you, Mona, and we can figure out what you want to do.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, peace.
Thank you, Mona.
Thank you, Daniel.
Daniel, do you see our friend Nero is telling people what to do in the chat?
Yeah. You hired her already?
Not yet. She's volunteering, it looks like. Hi, Nero.
Hey.
Hello,
Hi,
Ash. How are you?
How are you? Good, good. How about you guys?
We're great.
We're doing great. How can we help you?
So I had an interview. I had an interview 2 weeks ago in Seattle field office. When I show up for my citizenship interview, when I show up, I passed the security check on all that stuff. When I went to officer to let me in her room, she just opened the door and she said, "Your interview has been canceled, and we will let you know." And they don't send me any letter or anything or any calls or email, nothing. And it's been 2 weeks right now, and there is no update about rescheduling my interview. I don't know how it works, and because I applied in 2019 December, it's already 18 months, 19 months. Seattle, one of the slowest USCIS in the country, I think. I don't know, do I need to call them or do I need to just wait another month? I don't know how it works, because it was around 50 or 60 people sat there over there. She just called my name and she said, "Your interview has been canceled." I don't know what to do at this point. Can you help me about that?
It's because you're from Iran.
Yes, yes.
That's why. They're racially profiling because you're from Iran. That's all that it is.
So if I apply from like Muslim country, something like that, they takes longer than other countries?
Yes, it's true that Muslim countries take longer, but Iranian men cases take the longest. And it's not every Iranian men client, but I've probably filed 20 lawsuits for men from Iran to get them a interview and a decision. So, and the fact that the computer scheduled you for an interview and you showed up and they canceled it face to face, that means that there's some kind of a security thing. Do you have a hard time at the airports?
No, because I have a Nexus card. I'm going to Canada back and forth. I'm going to the radio lane. Everything is all right. I use my green card or my Nexus card. I don't have any issue with the border, but the problem is because, Seattle is close to Vancouver, Canada, and it's just 2 hours drive. Sometimes not in the last 2 years, the border was shut down, but before that, I drove to the Vancouver, see some friends on weekends or some family members over there. But I don't have any problem at the border. But I remember 2 years ago, I had in the one day, it was in January, they stopped all Iranians with the U.S. passport or U.S. green card. It doesn't matter what's your status in the U.S. They keep all the Iranian about 2 or 3 hours at the border. And I know you guys heard it on the news, on the Seattle, on the custom, on the Blaine, Washington. And it was a really hard time. But after that, no, it's back to the normal and everything is going smooth. But if they don't schedule me, for example, for 2 weeks or 3 weeks after this date, do I need to call them or I need to file a lawsuit? I don't know what to do because I need my certificate, I need my passport to travel. But I just wait for a long time. Yeah.
Daniel, he's been waiting a really long time. He showed up for his interview and they canceled it. What's my advice going to be?
I think you got to sue him, Ash.
I think so too. I think so too. I think it's the only thing that's going to work. I mean, you could wait. Like I might wait, I don't know, 6 weeks and see what happens, because 6 weeks is about the rollover time for an interview. But I had a client from Pakistan, and that was an interesting case because she just got her green card the other day. And Ash, this is the only time this has ever happened to me in my whole life as a lawyer. We got the interview notice and we went to the field office in New York, and they told us at the door, just like you can't come in, no interview today. And then she waited 13 months for it to be rescheduled. So, you could be waiting a while if you don't sue them. I'm not saying you have to sue them, but I'm saying if you want to get them moving, I'd give them maybe a month from when your interview was, or 6 weeks, and then I'd sue them. Okay.
By the way, Jim, how do you understand I'm from Iran? You find from my name or from my accent?
Both. All of it. I guessed all of it.
You are so smart, man. So
and I hate to say it, because of what happened to you.
Oh, so it's kind of common for Iranian applicants.
Oh, yeah. Hold on a second. Yeah. Hold on. I'm gonna There was one of my Iranian clients. They did a whole story on him in the newspaper, and I'll put the comment. I put it in the comments if I can find it. Hold on.
And you know that the military is mandatory in Iran. I was in military for 18 months. And when they asked me under my form on N400, do you serve in the military? I put yes, because it's mandatory. If you don't go to the military, you cannot, they don't issue passport for you and you're stuck in Iran, but you have to go to military to have some benefit from the government, like passport or driving license or anything else. It's like if you don't go to military, serve to the military, you're stuck forever. But if you go there, you can take a passport. And on my form, they asked, do you have served in the military? I put yes, I served in the military.
Yeah, so I'm going to post this right now, an article, and you can read it and tell me if it sounds familiar. If you need anything, let us know. Call Daniel and tell him you want to sue him. But whenever you're ready, no rush. Just whenever you're ready, okay?
Yeah, I'm just 2 weeks in. I just wait 4 more weeks, and if there is no news, because they already processed the people on January and February 2020, I just passed my date. If they have no news for me, I think we have to do something. Yeah.
Sounds good, bud. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Daniel. Have a good day. Bye. Bye.
Jim, you don't mince words. That's why I think people like you.
Why? What do you mean I don't mince words?
It's because you're from Iran, or it's because you're from here, or it's because you're this.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just because sadly, I know. Oh, they're asking if Daniel's a lawyer. Daniel's not a lawyer, not yet at least. He plays one on TV, though.
That's funny. Hello, Tony. How are you? Welcome.
Hey, how are you? Hi, Jim. Hi, Daniel. How are you?
We're doing great. How can we help you?
I'm a Mexican citizen, married to a U.S. citizen for 25 years. I have 3 U.S. citizen kids. So I see all the cases you have on. Mine is not as difficult, but I have some. I applied for my adjustment of status in February. I entered the U.S. B1, B2 visa in October, and my wife decided that she wanted to stay after never living here. We've never lived in the States. We've only had vacation homes, etc. And I wanted to ask you some very quick questions, because I got my receipts, but I haven't gotten any biometrics yet, and 4 months. And I don't know if it's one, because my wife has never worked and has never filed tax returns, because we do well. So I'm lucky that way. So she's never worked. And she's never lived in the U.S. We've always lived in Mexico. Her mom is a U.S. citizen also. And I wanted to ask you also, she has a U.S. passport and a certificate of birth abroad. So I don't know. I wanted to ask you if my case has any issues that you see just for what I've said.
I think you know that they do. I think you know that it does. You've raised all the right issues, Tony.
Okay.
So how old is your wife?
49.
So 49. So she's 2 years. So she was born in like 1972 or something.
72 exactly.
Yeah. So and she was born in Mexico.
Yes.
And she's lived her whole life in Mexico.
Yes.
Wow. I love it. Okay. All right. And so then you guys come on a visit. Do you
Well,
come
my 3 kids are going to school here in college, and our youngest needs a little more help. That's why she wanted to stay and support her. Yeah.
I totally get that. I got crazy kids myself. So what address, and you've already applied, right, Tony?
Yes.
Yeah, you already applied. Yeah.
Yes.
What address did you use for all your forms?
A house that we own here in California for at least 7 years.
And for the I-864, did you submit an I-864?
Yes, and we did also the public charge forms, because it was
Oh, that damn thing, the I-944.
Yes, and she has enough assets. She has enough assets in her bank account and in U.S. property to cover the property.
So okay, so the I-864 that you submitted, it was signed by your wife,
yes.
And it said she had no income for the last 3 years, but that you asked them to calculate assets and all that stuff.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So I hate that, Tony. I hate sending in an affidavit of support based on money in the bank. And the reason I hate it is because people at USCIS are not good at math.
Okay.
And
but it was a lot.
I get that, Tony. You have houses in Mexico and California. Now,
even if they cannot add
for the record, Tony, I will be in San Diego next week. So if you want to invite me over to one of your big houses, I'll be happy to come over.
I will invite you because I watch your channel all the time now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, have you ever heard that expression from the Bible? Oh, where'd Tony go? There's that expression. Tony's out. He might come back in. There's that expression in the Bible, Daniel. It's like, it's easier for, here he is. Here's Tony.
Sorry, I don't know what happened, Jim.
No worries. You must not pay the internet bill in that big old mansion.
Probably, yeah.
There's that expression, it's easier for, it's harder for a rich man to get into heaven than it is to get a camel through the eye of a needle or some damn thing like that.
Okay.
I sort of feel that way about the affidavit of support. The affidavit of support, like, they're built to look for money and adjusted gross income. I think that your case is being slowed down because you didn't fill out the affidavit of support the way that they like it. So if you have a friend who could serve as co-sponsor, I would do that. I also think,
and
Tony,
what, submit it without them asking you?
You're right, because that violates one of my big rules, which is don't ever submit stuff they don't ask for.
Right.
So all you've gotten so far are the receipts. No biometrics.
No.
And your filing date was, what did you say, like February?
February 1st. But the computer says received February 27. I don't know why. Well, the USCIS site.
Well, see, the weird thing is that by February, things were moving along, and cases that we filed in February, they've already had their biometrics done. So, if it was last February, then it'd be like, oh, yeah, that was COVID. So what's the question? I think right now you're just waiting, but what's your question to me?
Is any of the issues that I mentioned you a problem, you think?
No, I would start developing evidence of ties to the United States. This is almost never an issue in the United States, but like they're going to ask a question. What's your wife's first name, Tony?
Chris,
you've lived your whole life in Mexico. Why do you want us to give your husband a green card? Are you planning to live here? And remember, it's called permanent residence.
Yes, yes, she wants to. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So it's okay. I mean, she's a U.S. citizen. She's qualified to sponsor, and I would just start. I mean, you have 3 kids together, and you've been married a really long time, so that part's good. So you have good marital evidence. But I think now you want to be focused on evidence of America. Like I'd go get library card. I joined Costco. I do all this stuff so that you start getting bills and stuff in both your names at that address.
We have lots of bills at this address. Yes.
I think
too many bills.
I think you're fine.
And I own a very successful company in Chicago. Well, I'm one of the owners, and and I also own a lot of property in the U.S.
Well, I'm gonna start calling you T.O. Tony. I want to start hanging out with you.
But I don't know. But I don't know why I'm getting my case slowed down.
I think it's an affidavit of support.
You think so? Mm-hmm. I have global entry.
If you had come to me before you filed, I would have made your wife. I would have made you get a co-sponsor.
A co-sponsor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't care how rich everybody is. It's just.
The problem is I hired well, not a problem. He's a good lawyer. All the Mexicans hire him,
Yeah.
But you would figure he would understand that, right?
Well,
I was thinking of getting the affidavit of support to take it to my interview whenever I get my interview.
Well, but the thing is, Tony, The affidavit of support issue is decided before you get your interview. You don't get your interview until affidavit of support is cleared up.
Oh.
The other thing is, so you would have listed 000 for income for 2020, 2019, and 2018 for your wife, right?
Right.
But you wouldn't have any tax returns that back that up, right?
No, because I think if you earn less than $10,000 in the U.S., you don't have to file a tax return.
For the purposes of the IRS. But USCIS uses the adjustment of a spouse as a way to compel people to file tax returns.
Oh.
So I think it's two things. One, you're trying to get them to do math and use your assets. But perhaps even a bigger thing is that she hasn't filed tax returns and they want her to. Now, I don't know if she files a tax return, if that screws you up. Because
No.
Then I would do that.
For this year or for the last 3 years?
For the last 3. I'd at least be ready to do it in case. I think you're headed to a request for evidence.
Okay.
And that's why everything slowed down. That's why you haven't had your biometrics. In the old days, you filed and 6 weeks later you got your biometrics. But now, if there's a hiccup in your case, they don't do your biometrics, so you don't get the work card because they don't want to give out the work card to too many people.
Okay.
So if I had to guess, I think you're getting a request for evidence. Maybe not, but it's weird that you haven't been fingerprinted and your case is 4 months old.
Yes. So I should get an accountant and file taxes showing 0?
I would, as long as it's not going to hurt you financially. I would.
It doesn't. No.
Yeah, I would for sure.
No. I already took care of that before.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, Tony, It's nice to meet you, my friend. Let me know if you need anything, okay?
Thank you so much, and thank you for all you're doing. I love your show, your program, and the way you help people is amazing. Thank you.
Thanks, man. I enjoy it. It's fun. We'll talk to you.
Bye, Tony.
Bye-bye.
All right, I think we got time for like 1 or 2 more. Let's go to Kareem.
Hey, guys. Okay. Hello, guys. How you doing?
Hello, Kareem. How are you? Welcome.
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Great.
How can we help you?
Okay, so this case is about N336. My wife filed for her citizenship based on the spousal. We've been married for 11 years, just to say that up front. And when she went to her interview, the officer asked, when you came to the United States, who did you live with? And she said, I live with my sister. And by the way, her sister is married to my brother. So we're 2 brothers, we married 2 sisters, right? And apparently that created an issue with the immigration. And that was in 2016. She went to her interview in 2018. So they were asking from 2016 until 2017, late 17, in December of 17, we bought a house, right? My wife and I, we bought a house. So apparently what they did, they calculated because she moved in and lived with her sister, not knowing that her sister is my sister-in-law. Meanwhile, my brother owned that house for almost 10 years. So they kind of gave us a place to stay because we just came from Iraq. I'm not new. I've been a U.S. citizen since 2009. So I brought my wife and two of my kids. So anyway, what they did, they calculated basically because she says she lived with her sister, the time from arrival time until the time we bought the house, apparently I was nowhere to be found. And from 2000 and let's say at the beginning of 2018, up to the point that I got deployed because I'm working with the U.S. government overseas right now, it's nighttime here. They said, well, you two are been living together for almost just a year and a half. So the time of the arrival until the time we bought the house, I'm the invisible man. And the officer didn't even ask, okay, who else lived in that house with you? So they denied the case because they say they believe that there was no physical or binding marriage, marital together for 3 years before.
So this is one of those cases that really pissed me off because this is one of those cases where they don't even give her the chance to explain in her interview. They just think they're brilliant and they've discovered some shit that they don't even give your wife a chance to respond to, and they deny it sort of outside the interview. Am I right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's such BS.
So what happened is like, okay, I said, okay, this is a crap, because the officer that interviewed her, actually we met prior to the interview, because I previously worked in Iraq. He was a veteran, so we kind of have a chit chat. And okay, so when she got denied, this is how we found out she got denied. So she didn't pass the first civic test, right? So she was scheduled to take another one. It was postponed due to the COVID. She was rescheduled again for the July of 2020.
Yeah.
I took her in myself. I walked her into the office, and even the officer saw me. It was like, "Oh, you back?" I'm like, "Yeah, I am back." It was like, "Well, who let you in? You're not supposed to be here due to the COVID. We only accept the applicant." Okay, fine. I left and went outside and waited. And she came back with a piece of paper that said she did pass the civic test, but we cannot make a decision at this time.
Yep.
20 days later, we received this letter. This is what pisses me off the most. After a thorough review. I don't exactly understand what's the definition of thorough.
BS is what it is.
So we've been married for 11 years. With her application, I submitted all 3 years of tax return joint filing. So I got an attorney. We filed for the N336, and it was scheduled to go on April 20th in Minneapolis. But unfortunately, that's the day that the jury decided to pass the verdict on George Floyd case.
Right.
One day prior to that, we got a courtesy call from the immigration officer.
He
introduced him, and I actually answered the phone. He was like, "Who is this?" I said, "I'm the husband to my wife, Shaheen." And he was like, "Oh." I said, "Do you want to talk to her?" He was like, No. I just called him to let you guys know that I'm sorry, due to the unforeseen circumstances, we have to cancel the appointment." It's been a little over 1 month that we haven't heard anything back. Now, we submitted 400 pages, joint account.
Just to be clear, Kareem, just to be clear, that time that when your wife was living with your sister and her husband, were you living there too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have ID card, driver license, bank account. And when I obtained my security clearance, there's a letter indicating, and when I talked to the administrative judge for the security clearance, they give you this transcript of all the thing that she went to the federal court to meet, and I even mentioned it there. We came from Iraq first. We moved in with my brother. There was a good opportunity for me, give me a year and a half to work 2 jobs, put some money together for the down payment purpose for the mortgage, and so on and so forth. So all the evidence is there.
Yeah.
I just don't know what they saw that we're so blind to it, I guess.
Well, I think you're going to win on appeal.
That's what I see, but I just don't know why, it's taking a little over a month after the initial
here's
appointment.
Here's what I'll say about that. The usual rotation for a canceled interview is 6 weeks, but for N336s, it's longer. It's 2 or 3 months. So I think you're fine. I wouldn't worry about that.
Yeah. So I asked my attorney to actually physically attend the interview.
That's
so
good.
I guess my question is this: do I need to return home to be there? Obviously, they're not gonna let me in. That's a no-no.
Well, they've been letting spouses in the interviews I've been going to the last month or so. So I think they should let you in, especially if you've been vaccinated.
Oh yeah, I've been vaccinated since January.
Yeah,
we got the vaccination before anybody else.
I'd say, Kareem, you present well, and you're serving our country. So I would say yes, if you can come back, that would be helpful.
Yeah,
I would. If I were your lawyer, I'd want you there.
Yeah, I'm supporting the diplomatic mission here, and I served 6 years as an interpreter with the Army. And these guys are crazy, man. They don't listen to anybody.
Well, they're crazy and they're dumb. It's a bad combination.
I just don't know I'm still puzzled by the thorough review.
Well, so the good thing is when you go to an N336, they say, okay, what's your wife's name? Shaheen?
Yep.
Okay, Shaheen, what did we get wrong? And then you just punch them right in the face. You just tell them exactly they did wrong. It's sort of a fun thing. It's not like they're going to go over the N400 again. It's just your chance to really tell them like it is. It's really one of the few times in immigration where you and your lawyer sort of stand on equal footing and can say whatever you want.
Yeah. So yeah, this is like if I was them, I'd say, okay, who else lived in that house with you?
Yeah, so dumb.
Very simple question. It's very common sense. You don't have to be a highly educated just to ask that simple question. Who else?
Is there a chance it got lost in translation with your wife's English, or is she?
That's what. No. This is the funny thing. They said they denied it. They said because you didn't pass your first civic test due to the lack of communication in English language with the officer, but her testimony seems to be good enough for them to make a decision on.
Right.
That's kind of weird,
That's
ain't
funny.
it?
Yeah, that's a
it's
good.
like, hey, you don't speak English.
Kareem thinks like a lawyer, man. Kareem, you think like a lawyer. Those are good. Those are all good arguments, man.
Yeah, it's like, or your English is not good enough to pass, but it's good enough for your testimony. What?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
all right, Kareem, I'm gonna let you go, brother.
All right.
I gotta get going. Oh, we're past 1 o'clock. I think we got time for one more though. Thanks, Kareem. See you, buddy.
Okay, thank you, guys. Yep.
Good luck. Let us know how it goes, okay?
I will.
See you. All right, that was our man Kareem. We got time for one more. Let's go to Veronica.
Oh, thank you so much. Squeeze me in. So I'm trying to make it short and quick. My husband came into the U.S. with a business visa, overstayed, but prior to overstaying, because he's from Iraq, and it was back in 2013 or so that it was awful for him to go back. He, stayed, applied for
Asylum.
Asylum, exactly. That was like in 13-ish, I believe. And then in 2016, we got married. I met him in 2015. I got married. About 6 months later, I applied for him to see if that would, through marriage, to see if it would hurry the process, because I wanted him to go everywhere. I have a horrible family and I needed support if I flew, and my dad was really sick, but it was approved. However, they said they needed a waiver in order for him to be able to be approved through marriage. And when the attorney that we have over in Seattle, Nick Markey, he said that we just could not close Asylum because he needed to get the waiver, and he's been having constant cancellations with immigration, even being that now I guess it's 2, and we had another one in April that was like the 4th, I believe, or 5th. Since 2015 he's had 13 that he had came to try to get a waiver to be able to to get approval through Asylum, or also try to see if we could get the waiver through marriage, which I would much rather have, because then he just automatically have a green card, be able to, move forward. And it's just so frustrating. The attorney constantly says, it's Trump, it's this, it's that, more money, physical shots, constant, and then
what does he need a waiver for? I don't understand. He came on a visa, right?
Right. He came with a visa, then he applied for asylum, and he had horrible luck with the attorney. The attorney was out of town, wasn't able to represent him when he had his appointment, so then it automatically stops. So it took a long time for him to be able to try to get another appointment, like about 2 years before he was even able to get a social or anything. Yeah. Then once he had that, time moved on, still trying to wait for an appointment to see if he gets a green card or actually a work permit. It took a while, and then, he finally got it, I don't know, maybe 3 years later or so. And then when we ended up getting married, I'm like, let's see, we processed it much faster, because I didn't want to tap into it because he's through Asylum. But being that I'm a citizen, I feel very shortchanged by this government that I'm unable to do so many things.
Hold on, my camera's overheated because we've been going for so long. Let me switch cameras. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we hear you, Jim.
Here I come.
So at this point, I would like to see, what would you recommend that we be able to do to just...
It's hard for me to say because I don't understand where the waiver part comes in.
It comes in because we were approved through marriage. And we were approved through marriage. However, the setback is that they wanted a waiver from the asylum, that it was okay for them to give them.
So his asylum case, was it in court or was it at the asylum office?
I believe it's already in court. It's been in court.
So that's probably okay. I understand. Veronica, would you be willing to send us some paperwork and then I could look at it?
Tell me what you need. I got it all right here.
Yeah. Hold on.
I got it all right here.
I need it digital, but hold on. I'm going to put Daniel's email address in the chat. And and we can go from there, okay?
Yes.
Did it come through, Daniel?
Yep. We're good.
All right, cool. So Veronica, send that over, and Daniel will get it to me, and then we'll go from there, okay?
All right. And can you put that in the chat so I can copy it, Daniel, please?
You can't copy it out of there?
Well, I'm like on your actual site. I closed out the one through the Facebook.
Oh, let's see. Well, you know what?
I got
it. You got it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Veronica.
Thank you. Have a great day.
All right, we'll see you. Daniel, that was fun. I got to figure out how to keep my camera from overheating, but other than that, we're good. Thanks for coming on.
Right.
I think
Absolutely.
I think it's a lot better having you on.
Well, I enjoy it.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you later.
All right. See you, Jim.
Bye, buddy.